Welcome to the show, From the Soapbox to the Stage. I'm your host, Bill Corbett. If you've ever dreamed of standing on a stage to inspire, educate, or motivate an audience, then you've turned to the right show. We've been trained to keep our opinions open and to create multiple streams of income. But how do we do that without appearing like we know a little about many things? Now, my guest says great speakers hang their hat on one thing and develop themselves as an expert in that one topic. With me on the show today is Skip Weisman, a professional speaker, coach, and consultant. He is a member of the National Speakers Association and the past president of the New York NSA chapter. And before he developed his speaking career and after receiving his master's degree in sports administration from Ohio University, Skip spent 20 years creating high-performing, high-morale work environments for professional baseball franchises in the United States. Thanks for coming back on the show, Skip. So when I asked you about things that we like to recommend to people who are considering starting a speaking business or aspiring to be a speaker or want to figure out why they're not getting hired and have to kind of overhaul their business, you said your one thing was to pick one thing and hang your hat on it. Can you go into some more detail on that?
Yeah, I've been a member of the National Speakers Association since probably 2005, and I never really did much what I would call professional speaking, going out there on stages, associations, conferences, even for corporations, a lot, because I didn't really feel confident that I had a message anybody would care about. I really wasn't, I was unsure of myself. And in 2011, after all the coaching and consulting and training I had done since I started my business, I realized there was a pattern of how people communicate. And I wrote a white paper report called The 7 Deadliest Sins of Leadership and Workplace Communication. And that's something I truly believe in. These 7 communication habits are things that undermine motivation, morale, and trust in workplaces. I wrote the white paper, I sent it out, I've given it out to whomever will take it. About 8,000 people have downloaded it off my website. And I went out after association business and conferences to speak on that topic. And in the last 2.5 years, I've spoken to probably over 10,000 people in audiences. And that people are calling me back or calling me to hear that topic again or to go deeper into that topic. And so that's been really something that's really, I think, launched my real professional speaking career over the last 3 years, having that topic and going deep with it and spreading that gospel, for as far as it'll go. And now, because I've been speaking on that topic for so long, so many speeches over and over again, it's part of who I am. And now I can easily adapt it and apply it to different industries and different audiences and build off of that and go into deeper. Now I'm creating all different types of models off of that that's taking me on another path. But you have something you have to really sink your teeth into and really believe in, and it becomes who you are. And that will exude confidence. And then people will see that, and it'll be a great program, and people will call you back.
So you're building a brand,
Absolutely.
A very specific brand. Now, and I know the answers to this, but I want to have you address it. I know some people may be watching saying, well, hold on, I don't want to lock myself into one thing. What if there's a slightly different group that I can speak to? And what about, so I think people become afraid about creating a niche that is so narrow that they won't get opportunity. But, so what do you say to them?
Well, I think you have to get known for something to someone. Okay, and then once you get that, that gives you tremendous opportunities for referrals and offshoot business for related people. So if you speak to an industry, that, let's say you're an expert in plumbers or whatever, and plumbers have technicians that are out in the field or whatever, so that's who you talk to. Well, there's another genre of business, like the heating and cooling industry or some other industry that has a similar business model that needs the same message. And so you can get referrals to those other situations. If you're confident in front of an audience, you can branch out, but you have to build that base and start somewhere and gain confidence, get a reputation, a positive reputation for what you do and who you do and how you do it, and then the rest will flow from there. You can pick and choose where you want to go from there and become an expert in one industry and then branch out to related fields.
I think that's really a good point you make, because if we speak in front of a group and they're like, well, I don't understand his brand, or I don't understand what he's about, that can actually cause us to lose business. And I don't know if it's happened to you, and it may have. I get people who come up afterwards and go, no, this was great, but do you talk about this? And I go, I'm sure I can talk about that. I'm sure I can address that, because once you get seen and you get heard and your message is out there and you begin forming and shaping your brand, then people will come to you and say, now how about if we stretch it over here and stretch it that, and then it gives you more opportunities, right?
Absolutely, and you look for where it fits and where it makes sense and where you're comfortable. But once people start noticing those things, you can get very creative, and you're already the expert, so they'll accept your creativity in that genre because they trust you at that point.
Yeah. Now, does this lead into your second point, which is decide on the industry if it fits?
Right, absolutely. I think it's kind of related. You pick your niche and then just pick an industry. I don't care what it is. Pick an industry, go after it. Like for my two that I chose the last 2 years is project management, because project managers I've found really are hungry for communication skills. They have the hard skills that they get tested on, they get their certifications on, but they're really starving for that communication, the soft skills as people call them. They're the hardest skill, but it's called soft skills. And then I went to human resources, and so I speak to human resource associations as well. And I picked those two just to get on stage as often as I can, because one of my favorite movies, Throw Mama from the Train, Billy Crystal movie, and he's a writer, right, in the movie, and his theme, his mantra was a writer writes, right? Well, I think a speaker has to speak. A speaker speaks, and you've got to get on stage. It's all about stage time. The more you're on stage time, the better you get, and you learn from each one, each opportunity. So I think if you pick a niche, go after that industry, as we said, with your signature topic. Build from there, keep getting better, keep getting better. That'll build stage skills, and people will want you back.
How do you get gigs?
Through a lot of calling, a lot of emailing. The project management thing started out with an email blast to this organization called the Project Management Institute. It's an international organization, and they have local chapters. They had a portal on the website, and I just email blast everybody. I'll do a free webinar for you. I'll speak at your chapter dinner meeting for free or whatever, and started to build from a region, my local area, and then branched out and got the reputation, got some referrals from there. So I do a lot of email blasts. I do some direct mailing to targeted audiences, and I pick up the phone and make calls to groups to find out, okay, when's your conference? What's your theme? Would my topic fit with what you're looking for? If not this year, can I call you next year? So it's a lot of calling, a lot of email blasts, some direct mail, and just working the phones and working the referrals and your relationships that you have.
Have you ever had to turn down a gig?
I've turned down gigs that weren't a fit for me. They called me and they did want me to talk about something that I had no business talking about. They heard I was a good speaker. They said, "Can you talk on this?" I said, like time management. I could do a time management program, but that's not my passion. So I'd probably, I'd refer stuff like that out.
Now that's an interesting point. You refer stuff out. I like doing that. I like to see who's got a good brand, because the best kind of speakers, like you said, anchor on one particular niche, but I think it's also good that you build your network of people that can address those other topics. And if I've seen them speak on stage, if I've seen their work and their performance, then I'm ready to refer to them, right? Oh,
absolutely. I had the tremendous opportunity when I did a keynote last year in May of 2013. I did the luncheon keynote, but the opening conference keynoter was the former president of the National Speakers Association, Laura Stack. So I was on the same bill with her, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And she is a productivity expert. She's a time management productivity expert. And one of my pieces of my 7 Deadliest Communication Sins talk is about time management and focused attention. And I do a little blurb about it. I said, if you really want the expertness, you got to go see Laura, go talk to Laura. Here's her website. And I refer her out. I mention her in my programs because she is the expert in that field, and I have no problem. I don't want that genre at all, so I'll pass it off.
Are you the kind of speaker that likes to use technology, PowerPoint, or special effects or anything like that?
I use PowerPoint, especially in my industries that I'm after. Project management, people love PowerPoints. They always want the slides after the presentation. So I do it because they ask for it and they have it. I would prefer to not use the technology and give me 2 flip charts. I work usually best off 2 flip charts, engage the audience, get them sharing, interacting, and go from there. And I use the PowerPoint if I have to, or if they request it. And sometimes to add some humor, and you can do some fun things with the slides, but keep it as minimal as possible.
Yeah, I always get the emails afterwards. Can I have your slides? And then, of course, I take out any proprietary information or video clips or anything like that and give them just the raw slides. And I can see how that works.
The other thing about getting gigs, too, whenever I have a speaking gig, I have a handout. Or I have a handout and a feedback form I ask for. And on that feedback form, I want some comments. What did you like? What could be better? But it's a referral form, basically. It's if you like my talk, who else would you like me to speak somewhere else for an association or organization fill it out. And I get a lot of spin-off business from people that check off that box and turn in the feedback form. So that's another tip for that.
Excellent. Yeah. All right, well, that's a lot of tips. I really appreciate you coming out, coming from as far away as you did. And I appreciate you telling your story in the first segment and then talking about the tips on. And you make a really good point. You drive it home. You got to get an anchor. You got to figure out your identity, build your brand, and from there, amazing things will happen. Well, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
On today's show, we met Skip Weisman, a professional speaker, coach, and consultant. His primary tip for us was develop yourself as an expert in one particular topic and become good at it. Then match an industry that matches it and go find your potential clients. In other words, become the go-to person for that topic, and before you know it, the world will be coming to you for your knowledge and talent on topics related to that field of expertise. I hope you'll join me for future episodes of the show as I set out to tap into the knowledge of professional speakers who are willing to share their secrets for success on the stage. Now, as Dale Carnegie once said, make the most of today, get interested in something, shake yourself awake, and let the winds of enthusiasm sweep through you with gusto. I'm Bill Corbett, and I'll see you the next time on From the Soapbox to the Stage.